What would you do if you watched your child take their last breath right in front of you? Now, imagine you couldn't speak, couldn't cry for help, couldn't even understand why it happened. A mother elephant in Malaysia lived through exactly that moment, and what she did next shook an entire nation to its core. This isn't just another animal story. This is about love so deep it crossed species, grief so raw it changed laws, and a bond between mother and child that not even death could break. Stay with me, because what happened on that highway will change the way you see the world forever. Mine. Content. Victor? This? You're driving down a quiet road, windows down, warm breeze rolling through. The kind of day where everything feels perfectly normal. That's exactly what was going through the mind of a 28-year-old man cruising along Malaysia's east-west highway in his white van. This highway cuts straight through the BM Tanggunga Forest Reserve, one of the most ancient rainforests still standing on this planet. We're talking about a place that's been alive for millions of years. Trees older than civilizations. Life that existed long before humans ever built a single road. Out here, seeing wildlife isn't unusual. Monkeys swing overhead. Birds flash through the canopy. And yes, elephants. Majestic, powerful, unforgettable elephants. But they usually keep their distance. They move through the shadows. Quiet giants, minding their own business. So when this driver spotted a massive female elephant grazing peacefully on the left side of the road, he probably smiled, maybe slowed down a bit. Appreciated the view. Just another beautiful moment in the jungle. Right. Doble way. Because on the opposite side of that road, hidden in the thick brush and tangled vines, was a baby elephant. Small, curious, and completely unaware of danger. And in that baby's world, there was only one thing that mattered. Mom. That baby saw its mother across the asphalt and did what any child would do. It ran, ears flapping like little wings, trunk raised high in excitement, tiny legs pumping as fast as they could go. No fear, no hesitation, just pure love pulling it forward. The driver saw the movement. His foot flew to the brake pedal. Tires screeched against pavement rubber burned, but physics doesn't care about good intentions. The van was heavy, the speed was too much, and that baby elephant, so full of life just seconds before, collapsed beside the front wheel. Silent, motionless, gone. For a moment, the entire forest seemed to stop breathing. The birds went quiet. The wind died down, even the trees felt heavier. And then the mother turned around. You know that sound a mother makes when something's wrong with her child? That instant, primal alarm that cuts through everything else. Now imagine that sound coming from a 3-ton elephant. The trumpet that split the air wasn't just noise. It was pure, unfiltered, heartbreak-given voice. She charged toward the van, not with the fury of an animal attacking, but with the desperation of a mother who just watched her world shatter. Her massive body slammed against the vehicle. Tusks scraped across white paint, leaving deep gouges. Her trunk battered the hood, the doors, the windows. She wasn't trying to destroy the van. She was trying to understand. Trying to make sense of the senseless. She circled around and around, her enormous feet shaking the ground with every step, and then she did something that broke every witness who saw it. She pressed her head against the driver's door. Gently, almost carefully, as if asking a question only a mother could ask. Then she turned to her baby and nudged the tiny body with her trunk. Soft pushes, tender touches, the kind you'd use to wake a sleeping child. Come on, sweetheart, get up. Please, get up. We need to go home. But the baby didn't move, and the mother knew, deep down, in whatever way elephants understand death, she knew. Her cries changed. They became long, low rumbles that seemed to come from somewhere ancient and sacred, sounds that carried generations of grief. Scientists will tell you elephants are intelligent, that they have complex emotions, that they mourn their dead. But no research paper can capture what it means to watch a mother realize her child is gone forever. The driver, shaken but physically unharmed, made the call. The Perhalitan Wildlife Unit, rangers trained for exactly these impossible situations, arrived as quickly as they could. But when they got there, they faced a problem. The mother wouldn't leave. She stood guard over her baby, massive and immovable. How do you help when help means separation? How do you explain death to a grieving mother in a language she doesn't speak? One ranger, someone who'd spent years studying elephant behavior and understanding their ways, stepped forward. No sudden movements, no loud voices, just soft words and patient steps. Slowly, carefully, he guided the mother toward a nearby stream, not forcing, just suggesting. Offering a moment of space, and somehow, impossibly, she followed. Maybe she trusted him. Maybe she was too exhausted to resist. Maybe some part of her understood. With the mother temporarily away, the rangers approached the calf. They knelt beside the small body, and even these hardened professionals, people who'd seen nature's cruelty up close, felt their throats tighten. One by one, they bowed their heads. This wasn't just another animal casualty. This was somebody's baby, and that somebody was coming back. They chose a spot near the road, beneath trees, draped in moss and thyme. Together, they dug a resting place. Every shovelful of earth felt heavier than it should. When the hole was ready, they lifted the calf with the reverence you'd show any lost child. They gathered wildflowers from the forest floor, bright spots of color against the dark soil. A flat stone was placed as a marker. Simple. Honest. Final. The forest watched in silence, and then the mother returned. Her steps were different now. Slower. Heavier. Like every movement cost something precious. Her ears, usually held proud and alert, drooped low. Her trunk dragged slightly against the ground. She approached the fresh grave, and what happened next is something those rangers will carry for the rest of their lives. She sniffed the disturbed soil. Once, twice, trying to catch the scent she knew so well. Then she began to circle, moving around the grave in a ritual as old as elephants themselves. Her movements were deliberate, purposeful. This wasn't confusion. This was ceremony. And then, as if the weight of it all became too much, she knelt, her massive body lowered beside the tiny grave. She reached out with her trunk, touching the earth again and again. Gently, careces, final goodbyes. And from her eyes, tears. Real, visible tears that carved clean lines through the dust on her face. Scientists will debate whether elephants cry emotional tears, but ask anyone who was there that day, and they'll tell you. Those were tears. That was grief as pure and real as any human has ever felt. She stayed for nearly an hour, rumbling softly, talking to her baby in a language older than words. The rangers kept their distance, giving her space for something they couldn't name but completely understood. Mourning knows no species. Love transcends biology, and loss, well, loss is universal. Finally, she rose. Slowly, reluctantly. She looked back once, then turned toward the forest. The trees seemed to part for her, welcoming her back into the green embrace of home, and she was gone. Closing, but that's not where this story ends, because sometimes the most powerful thing about tragedy is what comes after. Word spread fast. A van with elephant-sized dents, a grave beneath the moss, a mother's tears witnessed by humans brave enough to watch. The story jumped from the forest to local news, from headlines to social media, from Malaysia to the entire world. And people, millions of people, felt something shift inside them. The government took notice, conservation groups mobilized, community leaders stood up, and real change began. Steel fences went up along dangerous stretches of the east-west highway, not the kind that trap, but the kind that guide, helping animals cross safely. Speed limits dropped. Bright yellow signs appeared, warning drivers that they weren't alone on these roads, that the forest had residents long before the asphalt came. Plans were drawn up for wildlife underpasses, safe passages beneath the roads where animals could move freely without ever facing traffic. Local schools started teaching kids about coexistence, about sharing space with creatures who were here first. Drivers changed too. They slowed down, They scanned the tree line. They remembered. The white van is long gone, probably scrapped or repaired and forgotten. But the grave remains. Wildflowers still grow there, refreshed by people who stop and remember. A small marker, barely noticeable unless you're looking for it. And some people, locals who travel that road regularly, swear that on certain evenings when the wind moves just right through the ancient trees, you can hear something. A hush, a whisper, like a mother's voice carrying one final goodbye. Through the forest she'll never leave. This wasn't just about one baby elephant losing its life on a random afternoon. This was about humanity waking up to a truth we'd been ignoring. We share this planet. Our roads cut through someone else's home. Our convenience sometimes costs another species everything. But we can do better. We must do better. So the next time you're driving through somewhere wild, somewhere ancient, somewhere that was forest before it was highway, slow down. Look around. Remember that mother and her baby. Remember that love isn't limited to humans. That grief doesn't need words. That change is possible when enough people care enough to demand it. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe because there are so many more stories out there about the beautiful, heartbreaking, incredible connection between humans and the natural world. We're still learning to understand. Stories that matter. Stories that change things. Stories like this one. The forest remembers. The mother remembers. And now, so do you.